Okay, please now join me in welcoming to the stage Council Member Zach Klein.
Well, thank you everyone so much for coming. I'm Zach Klein, member of Columbus City Council. I chair the Public Utilities Committee, the Public Safety Committee, as well as the Technology Committee on the Columbus City Council. I want to give a special shout out to a couple folks before I make some quick remarks. Of course, our great mayor, Mayor Coleman, who has put this on now and had the opportunity to bring small businesses together, to rally around how important y'all are to not only the economy in general, but definitely the city of Columbus economy. Melinda Carter, Melinda, what a great advocate for small business. I know she is my go-to person whenever I have any questions or concerns, and thank you for being such a wonderful friend. And then, of course, the director of public utilities, Greg Davies, who's been a good advocate and supporter of small business. Thank you, Director Davies, for the work that you're doing. I want to focus on three things. The first is you are the lifeblood of our economy. You know, small business growth is the city's economic growth. And I think a lot of times the media really captures and focuses on these big fish that we go after, like a big economic development deal. But the reality is the opportunity for Columbus's economic growth is going to really lay right in your hands. As you grow and have opportunities to grow, as we as a city create an atmosphere for you to grow, the city's economy will grow itself. So we firmly believe in you, which leads me to my second thing, is that we do believe in you. In the city of Columbus, we had on City Council a small business roundtable. We brought in about 30 representatives from small business, trade organizations and such, and we talked about what issues are affecting you and how can we as city government address them. Born out of that was a record investment in small business loans with our partners from ECDI and the Finance Fund. That money is available for you all to invest and grow your business so we can grow our economy here in the city of Columbus. The next is training for city employees, that we offer our training centers for your employees to take advantage of some of the training we offer. I highly encourage you to take advantage of that. The third one is one that Council President Ginther mentioned, and that is the small business concierge. You know, please don't take any notes, but there is a little bit of red tape in government. And you know, the small business concierge, Ryan Schick, has done a tremendous job of trying to cut through that red tape because we have wonderful, wonderful city employees that work every day to try to make your business succeed. But sometimes regulations that are brought forth by us as elected officials, you know, sometimes that may make it challenging. And we should always, as a government, be balancing the appropriate amount of regulation so that y'all can succeed as a business. And Ryan has done a great job in trying to navigate that. And then the third and final point is we want and need you to be our partner. The city needs to continue and always will continue as long as I'm on city council to improve its relationship for small businesses. You know, we as a city, sometimes we forget we're government, we're also a business entity. And we offer a lot of opportunity for small businesses, small minority businesses to have an opportunity to contract with us, whether it's through construction, goods and services, or professional services. And we need to always and constantly put you in a position for success. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Enjoy the conference, and thank you for participating and being such good friends to the city of Columbus.
Thank you, Council Member. And now I'd like to welcome Chief Michael Reese, the Chief of Staff for the City of Columbus, who is here today to introduce our keynote speaker and man of the hour, Gene Smith. Please join me in welcoming Michael Reese.
Thank you, Don. What a great crowd we have here today. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with you today representing Mayor Michael B. Coleman. The mayor will join us again this afternoon. I know he was here this morning, and he looks forward to being with you again this afternoon. The good news is I am the last speaker before the main speaker, Gene Smith. Just a few remarks. Small businesses are the heart of our local economy, providing jobs and services that are essential to our quality of life. Every day, the city of Columbus depends on the products and services you provide to better serve our citizens. As Mayor Coleman often says, Columbus means business. By equipping our small minority and female business owners with the tools for success, we are encouraging economic vitality and sustainability that will not only benefit small businesses, but benefit the city as a whole. I want to thank you for helping Columbus become one of the friendlier cities for small businesses in the country. The city cannot be successful without you. And now I have the honor of introducing Athletic Director Gene Smith. Gene Smith is in his 11th year as Director of Athletics at The Ohio State University. He was promoted to Vice President and Director of Athletics in January of 2014. He is widely recognized among the leaders of his profession and has been named one of the most powerful people in collegiate sport. Gene Smith was named the Buckeyes Director of Athletics March 5th of 2005. He is the 8th person to hold the athletics director position at Ohio State and the first African American to do so. He previously served as Director of Athletics at Arizona State, Iowa State, and Eastern Michigan universities, and is entering his 31st year in the role. At Ohio State, Gene Smith oversees the nation's most comprehensive and one of its most successful collegiate athletics programs. The department sponsors 36 fully funded varsity sports with more than 1,000 student athletes regularly competing for the Big Ten Conference and NCAA championships. And he has additional oversight responsibility for a recently created Business Advancement Division of Ohio State, which includes the Schottenstein Center, Nationwide Arena, Blackwell Hotel, Drake Union, Fawcett Center, and trademark and licensing. His business acumen has fostered collaboration and optimized revenue opportunities within each entity to ensure profitability. So please join me in welcoming OSU Vice President and Athletic Director Gene Smith.
Thanks, Mike. OH! OH! Good afternoon, everyone. And Mike, thank you for that kind and generous introduction. I appreciate the opportunity to spend a few moments with you. And I guess they brought me here to kind of talk a little bit about my unusual business, which is athletics and some other entities that I'm blessed to be a part of. And so first, I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you for what you do. There is a symbiotic relationship between business and sport. And at The Ohio State University, in the athletic department that I see and all the other units that I'm blessed to work with every single day, we have about 512 full-time employees. We employ about 950 student athletes and about 1,400 part-time people. This past year, we had close to 8,400 events that we hosted in all of our facilities. That includes our athletic events and concerts. Anybody go to the concerts this summer? Okay, a couple people went to the concerts. I tried that One Dimension for a minute, or One Direction. What was it called? That thing. I did it for a minute. But anyway, my ears were killing me, so I left. But anyway, we host quite a few events, and I would share in this short period of time that I have that we do have a great deal of similarity in what you do. And one core area that's most important in everything we do is the people. People are the heart and soul of all that matters. So regardless of the size of your business, I would encourage you to make sure that you have the mechanisms necessary to have effective and efficient communication and professional development programs for the people that you work with every single day. There's one of the greatest quotes out there is people will never remember what you said or did, but they will always remember how you make them feel. So whether you have 3 people in your organization or 30 people in your organization, use this one platform. Make sure you set up a performance management plan. Make sure you give them quantifiable goals and expectations. They want to know what they're held accountable to and for. Set up formal and informal communication platforms so you could talk to them about how they're doing in the job that you hired them to do. But even in that moment, when you're talking about the job and the work, You can talk about them personally. You can talk about how they're doing. So many times in our environment, someone comes to work and they're having a bad day. Now, who knows what happened to them last night or this morning? Okay? Who knows what happened to them in their personal lives? What's important is to make sure you create a culture, an environment where the people understand that they're more important than the boxes that they're in. They're more important than the dotted lines and the hard lines and the direct reporting relationships. Who they are matters most. So I would encourage you to make sure you set up those platforms so that you can spend a quality time with people between their ears and in their hearts. We're blessed at The Ohio State University where I work because we have outstanding leaders in our athletic program and our coaching staff and others who understand that. And I guess Urban really figured it out with his players. Because at the end of the day, they play for one another. It's not about X's and O's in that game. It's about playing for the person right next to you. And hopefully you saw that last year. So that in this brief period of time that I had the opportunity to speak with you about what you do and what we do, I hope you take that message. And I'll close with this. Remember, sometimes in life with people, you have to meet them where they are in order to get them where you want them to go. In order to do that, that means you have to have a conversation. Don't assume. My dad taught me a bad thing about assumption that I can't say publicly. Some of you, anybody in from Cleveland? Okay, my old man was from Cleveland, from the east side. And he had a language that was different that I can't use today. It was really good with Jack Daniels. But anyway, he had a lot of great sayings. He was an electrical contractor, only black electrical contractor who was non-union in Cleveland. And he survived because he took care of his people. I learned that years ago. Take care of your people and you have it made. So Don Juan, where you at, brother? Let's get this going. We got a little Q&A. Let's do this.
You know, I asked my staff to help me prepare a few questions, and of course the wonderful staff in preparation for the event prepared a few questions of their own. So I want you to know we prepared a lot of very serious business questions.
And if you ask me who the starting quarterback is, we're going to turn this into a fundraiser.
JT or Cardell? JT or Cardell, we want to know right now.
I know, and I can be
bought. We're not
waiting
till
Monday. I have no clue. That's why we hire somebody like him.
How about if we do, just real quick, we don't have a lot of time, by a little applause, first, JT. All right? Cardell.
Wow. Wow.
You're welcome to bring that back to the coach.
I'm going to call
afternoon.
Urban right now.
Let the coach know how the people at the Mayor's Conference on Small Business feel who should be our starter on Monday. Good to see you,
Good
Gene.
to see you.
Thank
That's
you.
just one more thing on people. You know, in some Democratic places, it's good for people to, you know, to have a say, but they might not have the last vote.
That's right. There you go. There you go. All right. We're going to have a couple of fun questions. We're going to have a couple of other questions that we throw in there. And how about sharing? I understand that you have some principles of success that are very important to you. Would you like to share with us just a few of your principles of success?
Well, I think first and foremost, you know, I'm never the smartest person in the room. My IQ is never the highest, but I'm pretty strong on my EQ, my emotional intelligence, and I believe self-awareness and self-management is very critical. So I encourage people to take the time to get to know themselves, what their strengths, their weaknesses are, and who they are, and focus on their strengths, not their weaknesses, because the reality is, if you're weak at something, you're no good at it. Why waste your time? So be good at what you're good at. And so I believe in that, and then I believe establish your values and stay true to them. You know, integrity is my highest value. No one can take that from me. My family is my other highest value, and I'll go to the grave for them. And then I have several others after that. So establish your values and both stay true to yourself.
In the past 11 years, what do you think has been the biggest obstacle to your success, some of the biggest challenges you've faced?
You know, obstacles are majority of the time self-imposed. Mm-hmm. You know, the reality is in life and whatever we do, we're going to have challenges. We're going to have issues. It's a matter of how you face them. It's a matter of how you deal with them. And so we have a thing that we teach our student athletes, and it's E plus R equals O. It's the event that you can't control. Then it's your response that you do control that determines what the outcome is. And so I never have had anything in my life that I've faced, with the exception when I was in college, because I didn't know anything in college. I was stupid. But once I got out of college, I felt comfortable because I just tried to do things the right way.
That's great. And I imagine you would like that to be part of your legacy. How would you like to be remembered during your time as?
I get asked that a lot, and I never really think about that. I hope people would recognize that I'm honest and forthright and candid, which is very important in our environment. You have to be candid with people in order to help people understand direction. And so I'm just a straightforward guy. There's no gray area. So I would probably say that, and then my care for student athletes who I serve every single day. Getting their degree is number one. There's nothing more important than that. That's what we promise their families when we sit in their living rooms. Our graduation rate went from 62% to 89%, and so it's something that's most important. That's probably the biggest thing I like to think of, besides winning several championships.
Former OSU President Britt Kerwin just came out in the last week or 10 days. He said that major universities have lost control of their athletic programs. This is a roughly $140 million revenue program that you run at Ohio State. How do you respond to that from Dr. Kerwin?
Yeah, we're actually a $153 million operation, all externally derived, no tax dollars, no general fund dollars, no student fees. In fact, we transferred this past year $32 million back to the institution, pay for our grant and aids and to support different initiatives on campus, the College of Social Work, the library, and several other areas. I understand his perspective. I disagree with him. I don't think he should generalize. I'm sure there's some that are out of control, but the reality is athletics is that only incubator left in higher education where you can take a young person and surround them with a great deal of talent and skill to help them be the best that they can be. And that's why our graduation rates are high. That's why we have student athletes who will represent us in 2016 in Rio. I believed a long time ago when I did this, I believe intercollegiate athletics should be integrated into the institution. As the athletic director, I do not run it alone. Our provost is a part of that. Our general counsel is a part of that. Our president's a part of that. So it's an integrated system that we're blessed to have at Ohio State. Now, relative to the old model, he's probably right.
How do you feel about paying student athletes? This has been an increasing topic of conversation. You saw the Northwestern University athletes tried to unionize. It didn't go anywhere, but it was kind of interesting.
That would have been a problem.
Kind of interesting. And now, on top of it, there are a few college football coaches who have proposed fining their players.
That's crazy.
For breaking team rules. They would deduct the money from the players' grants and aids or their scholarships. And what do you think about this?
Well, the last question first. When you are getting to a thought process of fining your players, you got other issues. You got bigger issues. It starts back to your recruiting and the culture you created when you have an environment where you're going to fine someone because they're late for class, or you're going to fine someone because they didn't clean their locker. As the AD, I need to be looking at you, not fining my players. So secondly, to your first question, I've never been a proponent of the pay-for-play model. I've always strived for years to try and find more ways to get resources to student athletes. I was a big proponent for years of the new cost of attendance model, and I won't get into details on that, but now we changed our financial aid model so that we can provide more financial assistance to our student athletes. Been a big believer of finding other benefits, like this past year helping the parents go to the college football playoff and paying for their way to go. When you take and you pay an athlete a paycheck, you turn it into an employer-employee relationship. It's a totally different world. But I believe that we need to constantly find ways to get more resources, not necessarily money, in their pockets. And we've done a good job of that, particularly over the last 4 years. And I see some things coming down the pike that will help better with that.
You've got a lot of construction projects going on right now, including some work at the Shot.
Right.
Do you think that's really important in keeping up all of the facilities, keeps the university sports programs viable,
Right.
keeps you competitive, and you're really leading the way in some of these construction projects?
Yeah, we're blessed with Buckeye Nation supporting us. In athletics, we have to fund all of our projects through fundraising, all externally derived. So we do have 3 projects that we're focused on now. A small arena that's a 4,000-seat arena, the Cavelli Arena. He was a great donor, and it's a $30 million project. We've raised about 22, and we can raise the rest here right now if you like. And then we're doing a student-athlete performance center. It's a facility where we'll have all of our athletes working out together. We can bring our strength coaches, our nutritionists, our sports psychologists, all the people who work for our athletes under one roof as opposed to 5 different facilities. And bringing all that intellectual property under one roof to help our student athletes would be phenomenal. And it'd have the state-of-the-art equipment. And then we're building a small wrestling practice facility. Wrestling is an exemplar in Columbus, Ohio. Wrestling in this state, at The Ohio State University, we should be dominating every single year. And so I have the coach to get that done. Now I need to give him the classroom. These facilities are their classrooms. This is where their God-given talent and skill that they developed to a point where we brought them to be Buckeyes, where they maximize that talent and skill so that they can go out on the field or on the court or on the mat and perform in their contests. So these facilities are important for us from a competitive reasons with our peers, but also just to make sure that we have state-of-the-art for our coaches to teach them.
What do you enjoy most about being the director of athletics at a school like Ohio State?
That's the kids. You know, I sat down when Joey Bosa came by. I had an 11:30 meeting yesterday to talk to him about life issues. And it was just, it was an enjoyable experience sitting with him. And here's a young man that's blessed. His father and uncle played pro ball. He has an unbelievable physical specimen. And the reality is he can't go anywhere. He can't walk anywhere in the city or on the campus without being bothered. And people don't understand that. He can't come out of his apartment and walk to his car without being bothered. And how do you deal with that as an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid? In fact, he's 20. Okay, and the guy that'll start this weekend, who's a sophomore, is older than him. So it's those moments in time are just beautiful for me to be able to sit with those young people. And the biggest thing is when they walk across that stage and they're done, and then every now and then I get a letter from them from somewhere. I got one from a hockey player in Chicago a couple of days ago, and he is doing extremely well. And said anytime I come to Chicago, call him. So I texted him and told him where I like to eat. It's his turn to pay. So it's the kids. It's the kids.
That's great. That's great. Since you brought up food, my staff did prepare a couple of fun questions. What's your favorite tailgate meal?
Oh, my favorite tailgate meal would be
just in case you get invited by some
of
course, Buckeyes for dessert, right?
Yeah, I'd probably say ribs. Yeah, I'd kill some beef ribs, not pork, beef ribs.
Good. We've got a lot of small business owners here, Gene, as you know. What are some of the tools that you use for survival in this rapidly changing and sometimes controversial world of big-time college athletics?
Kim and I were talking about this earlier, and you have to have balance in your life. I would encourage all of you to go to that self-reflection and really know yourself. Know when you're at the top of your game. There's this thing called the mood elevator that I learned about that some of you probably heard about. You make your best decisions when you're at the highest end of the mood elevator, when you're happy, when you feel good about yourself. You don't want to make decisions at the other end when you're in a bad mood. All of us are moody, okay? Don't lie to yourself, okay? All of us are moody at times, and those are the worst times for us to make decisions. So you need a technique to get yourself to the top end of the mood elevator. So if I'm driving into work and I feel bad, I turn on Teddy Pendergrass, and by the time I get to school, get to work, I'm all good.
There you go.
So, you got to find out what your technique is. So, find balance in your life. Make sure you take care of yourself. Nobody knows you better than yourself. So take care of yourself, and then you'll have a better chance to maybe take care of the people that you serve every single day.
Great advice. Gene, you were part of an interesting decision that's going to be part of a new experiment this year at the Shoe. Alcohol is going to be available in premium seating only at our football games. So what do you need to see with that pilot program in order to make it go ahead with beer sales through more of the stadium?
Yeah, we learned a lot with our concerts that we had this summer relative to the stadium, but we also figured out some things we needed to do better logistically behind the scenes, behind the operation. So interested in making sure that our logistics are smooth, that our processing of the cash and everything around that is smooth, and then the behavior of the people. And so then we'll study that, and our athletic council will make a decision on whether or not we go any further. And we're doing a national survey on the other 32 schools that are doing it, including Texas, which is the largest stadium that's doing it now. They sold in the suites first, and now they're doing it outside, so they learned a lot. So I really need to see our logistics and how people behave, and then we'll make a determination.
And of course, you wouldn't have any sales anywhere near the student section, I would assume.
No, it's interesting. We have the zip codes on all of our students, and 72% of our students are drinking age. So we have to manage that, because obviously there's a percentage that's not. And in our stands, we have people who are not of drinking age. So we have to manage that at the stations. And then we'll have to increase the number of ushers and ticket takers, ushers and redcoats inside the stadium to make sure we monitor the sections. What's great about Ohio State, our ushers and our redcoats have been there a long time. So if you sit in a section, that usher pretty much knows who's in that section. And we know with the number of cameras that we have, we can zone in on your purse if we have to.
Any estimates on how much revenue this could mean for?
No, I haven't looked at the revenue. I really haven't. We're doing this for customer service reasons, and a lot of schools across the country is losing attendance. We can't assume that we're going to always be sold out of every Big Ten game and the marquee games. We need to constantly be ahead of that.
We have a microphone up front here somewhere. So I've been asked to spend a few minutes with Gene to allow you to ask a question or two.
Or give answers, either one.
If anyone would like to step up to the mic to ask a question, feel free to do so. Do you see the Big Ten adding more teams, more universities, and would you welcome that?
No, I don't see us adding any in the near future.
14?
Yeah, we're 14 now. We have a contract in television that we're actually in the middle of negotiations on extension, but we're pretty settled where we are. Bringing Rutgers and Maryland, it allowed us to lock up the East Coast relative to television, and obviously Nebraska before that brought us a great brand. So we're pretty settled right now.
Great. Go right ahead.
Testing. Okay.
Right.
Mr. Smith, Terrence Jones, all the way from Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame city. Quick question, as a small business owner, the desire is like any business, and that is to be profitable and also successful. But how does a small business ever get an opportunity through an Ohio State? Because what happens is big business works with big business. And so if a small business like my business, Simply Youth, by the way, that provides training and workshops, actually get an opportunity to...
Do we fine him for selling on the moment?
Not at all, not at all. No, that's just
talk about fines.
That is that indirect promoting, just like he was doing for that premium seating.
I love it.
Mr. Smith.
I love that.
Okay, Gene, I'm going to jump in. Thank you.
No,
so
Mr.
how you
Smith,
do, the way you do that, there's a process.
Seriously,
How
because
can
honestly,
small businesses,
if you get that opportunity to get that big break, that will just grow your business and to be able to help the economy. So again, how would a small business ever get a chance to be able to showcase their goods or services to an OSU so that they one day get their big break to do big business?
Yeah, first of all, there's a process to that with our business and finance operation where you apply as a vendor. So there's a process to do that, and the gentleman's office is Jeff Chattis in the business and finance area. But the other thing, it comes down to people and relationships and people knowing people. You know, I know a few people in this room, so if they went to try and bid on a particular piece of business in the institution, I may call my colleague and try and encourage them to consider that business. So one of the challenges that I think we have is the integration of relationships of small business with people at The Ohio State University. And it's not big business and small business, it's people. And so we have the formal process through business and finance where you need to get your paperwork in so the institution at least have you in the queue, but it's still down to people. So you should know who is the vice president for student life. If we're building all these new dorms, I think you ought to know who Javon Gaston is. So I can just keep going for you. So at the end of the day, it's reaching out. It's cold calling. When I worked at IBM selling computers back in the 80s, I hated cold calling, but it was cold calling. It's the only way to get in front of people and make a sell. So it still comes down to that.
Do you have anyone else up there? We have time for a couple more questions. What's the future of the management of the stadium now? It looks like these concerts have been a success.
Right.
You think you're going to continue and maybe add in the future?
Definitely. Yeah, we have for the next 2 years the Country Western Festival locked up for the next 2 years, and I have a great guy by the name of Zen Riggs who does a marvelous job going out there and working with promoters to try and find businesses. But it's hard in stadiums to get concerts, so we're going to stay after it. I like to have 2 to 3 a year, and that's an iconic facility in our community. It's great economic impact when we have those concerts, so we want to keep it going.
I have to tell you, we had a high school graduation. Our youngest graduated from high school. In fact, my son and Mike Reese's son graduated together, and we were really concerned because it was the last graduation of the day, and it was the same evening as the Rolling Stones concert.
Oh, wow.
And they assured us that we were going to have no traffic issues. They were going to filter the traffic in for the football stadium for the concert from the south. We were coming.
You believe that, huh?
We fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Hook, line, and sinker. And they did a great job. They did a great job. They got the traffic in and out of the stadium and in and out of the shot where the graduation was. So they've got it down to a science.
They do.
I'm sure you're really proud of that.
There's another question over here.
Hi, Chris Brown from Trident Design, and my question is, what do you do to further develop your emotional intelligence you were talking about earlier, and how can we, as business owners and leaders in the business, create those cultures through our employees?
You know, one of the things in that area is, again, self-awareness. And so you need someone in your life who's going to be brutally honest with you, that you're going to empower to be brutally honest with you. And then you're going to accept what they say to you. And some of us historically have had challenges with that. So first and foremost, you get to get self-aware and have that person. Then two, from there, develop your self-management technique. But for your team, you have to talk to them about this stuff. You know, you just can't send them an article to read. You have to sometimes in group dynamics set the communication platform where you're literally talking about this. One of the best articles on emotional intelligence was written in 1988 in the Harvard Business Review by a guy by the name of Dan Goldman. So you can go Google that and it will give you some great direction on that. But reality is you got to talk about it first and then teach them what it means. And once you're self-aware and you self-manage, it becomes a lot easier for you to socially manage and work with other people around you because you're comfortable within yourself. So there's a lot around that, but I would encourage you to talk about it with your team and make sure that they have an open way of talking about it.
Gene, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I mean, 18 minutes, I'm just warming up. I know you are, too.
Oh, yeah, I am.
But congratulations on
Thank you.
11 wonderful years at The Ohio State University. We hope you're with us many, many more. Good luck on all of the sports. I'm kind of a hockey guy. I'm from Buffalo originally,
cool.
so we're hoping
Thanks,
the hockey
Don.
team has a great season, too. Yeah. And please join me in thanking Mr. Gene Smith.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.